Hey, what's up, family? Welcome. If it's your first time watching us, we're honored to have you join the fam, and we'd love it if you like and subscribe to the channel. Now, I'm not going to go into what happened with the flood of Al-Aqsa and what Hamas did, because I don't even want to talk about it. Yeah, Hamas did some things that definitely weren't supposed to happen, but what's done is done. Everything we're seeing in the region today is just the fallout from the flood of Al-Aqsa that went down on October 7th. When you look at things now, you'll realize the situation is like when we were in school and there was always that one kid who was the troublemaker. Every time something went wrong, they'd call him. Well, right now, Israel is that troublemaker in the region, and they're messing with our lives. They're striking Lebanon south, Gaza, the Houthis, Iran, and even Egypt and Syria. So, what happened with Israel last night? Well, you guys know Syria is pretty much occupied from every direction. Internally, it's controlled by Al-Julani and his militias, and he's just forcing his weird will on Syria. Then there's the SDF region, the Syrian Democratic Forces, and I'm telling you, if anyone there trusts Al-Julani or his militias, they're gonna pay a heavy price. They won't be safe ever. Israel's got its hands in the game too. They're in southern Lebanon, they're in Dara, they're in Sweden, they're everywhere.
Now, there's always been a bunch of people who said, Bashar al-Assad can't free the Golan Heights. And I'm not defending Assad, but let me ask you this. When Assad was in charge with the Iranian militias in Syria, do you think Israel would have been able to push in, strike military bases, and do what they're doing now? Nah, that didn't happen. But today, Israel is pushing in everywhere they want, with Turkey backing Al-Julani in Syria. And it's the Syrian people who are stuck in the middle. Turkey's been trying to meddle in Syria for a while, but even though I don't recognize Al-Julani or his militias as having the right to control Syria, Syria should be a free, sovereign nation.
Same people who argue Ukraine's sovereignty shouldn't be violated by Russia are the same ones who are okay with Israel doing whatever they want to Syria. Talk about a double standard. So, yesterday Israeli forces pushed into Dara. They announced it over the mosque loudspeakers. Israeli forces are coming, get ready to fight. Some local people stepped up and fought back. They weren't with Al-Julani, but we consider them martyrs for their resistance. They stood up with weapons to fight off Israeli occupation in their land. Imagine defending your family, your land, your honor, and then Israeli troops come in with tanks and soldiers. They're bombing civilian homes with airstrikes, hitting Syrian civilians inside Syria's own borders.
If we're talking about terrorism, Israeli forces are the real terrorists. And they do it with the excuse that Syria's got weapons that threaten their security. What security? These guys are bombing anyone who resists and calling them terrorists. Then the Israeli defense minister came out publicly, calling out Al-Julani by name, not even using his real name, Ahmad Shark. He told him, if you put any weapons on Syrian soil that threaten our security, we'll act. And he added, our army will stay in the Syrian buffer zone to protect Israel. How much more gangster can you get?
This is happening with America's blessing, by the way. America's Secretary of State put out this weird statement telling every American embassy to check people's social media before they approve visas. If you criticize the US or Israel, forget about getting a visa. That's freedom of speech for you, and don't even get me started on the Jerusalem Post. They reported that there were 9 martyrs and several wounded in Syria from the Israeli attack. Just another day in the region, huh? Israel and the message to Turkey.
According to the Jerusalem Post, Israel's strike yesterday was basically a message to Turkey, telling them, stay out of Syrian airspace and don't try to set up military bases on Syrian land.
And who condemned this?
Egypt.
Yeah, Egypt came out and condemned Israel's attack on Syrian territory, saying it violates all international laws and norms.
Today Israel's motto is, you put weapons on land next to ours, we're gonna strike and call it terrorism.
They don't even care about anyone else's rules, they only recognize their own. Now, what about Syria? We haven't heard anything from them. What are they doing about it? Probably getting ready for another attack on the Syrian coast to hit a few Alawites. That's all we're seeing today. There's a picture in front of you of them during Eid prayers. It's the same old routine. Just 2 days ago, they were driving through Christian neighborhoods in Syria with loudspeakers, blasting their strange music and propaganda. But where are they when it comes to what's actually going down? I honestly feel like Egypt is condemning Israel's actions in Syria more than Al-Julani himself is. Today, Al-Julani isn't doing anything other than releasing some weak, meaningless statement through his foreign ministry. It's useless. Meanwhile, Israel is bombarding Syria and southern Lebanon, and the United States is giving them the green light. The United States even told them to keep going with the Houthis, and there's a strong possibility Israel will hit Iran too. So, when are we going to see change in Syria? As long as there are people in Syria thinking that the country should only be run by those of their own sect or religion, Syria will stay divided and ruled by people like Al-Julani. And honestly, I see this as way worse betrayal than anything Bashar al-Assad has done. Sure, Assad violated human rights, but it's not anywhere near the level of betrayal we're seeing with Al-Julani. He's a living example of shame and cowardice for... Look, I'm not defending Hamas, even though I criticize them for the mess they've caused around us. They've been getting people involved by saying, "Come fight for us." But where were they at the start of this war? Where were they when other countries were left hanging with everything falling apart? Now they want help. Sure, Hamas might have been right in some ways, but they've also made a ton of mistakes. But if we're being honest, Hamas has more courage and guts than Al-Julani and his militias, no matter what you think about them. Anyway, let's not mix things up. I don't want to keep you here too long. Syria's going through some seriously tough times right now, probably the worst in its history. That's what happened with the Israeli airstrikes and their aggression towards Syria. Syria was once a proud nation. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to drop a comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on. At X News, we're committed to bringing you the truth.